Well, alright everybody, so we are back with another episode of TEW9, the War of Immortals. We are on our last superstars before we hit WrestleMania. We are 2 days away from WrestleMania. So, let's take a look at last week's card. We had Big John Studd, Akeem, Don Morocco, and Bob Orton, and Ravishing Rick Rude defeat Harley Race, The Natural Disasters, and Demolition. In our pre-show, we had Vince McMahon and Jesse Ventura run down our card. We had the Honky Tonk Man defend his WWFC World Television Championship against George the Animal Steel. Colonel Robert Parker giving Ronnie Garvin a warning about taking on the natural Butch Reed. We had the New Horsemen, Barry Windham and Sid Vicious, take on Strikeforce. We had Rick Rude tell Harley Race that he's in for a pretty big fight come WrestleMania. Then we had Hogan take on Ken Shamrock in his debut. LOD introduced their final partner for War Games, Sergeant Slaughter. Slaughter defeated Tully Blanchard by DQ. We had Piper hyping up his match this week against Don Morocco in his return back to WWFC. We had Jake the Snake defeat Triple H in his Pick the Poison. And then Savage said, hey, you know what? Since I'm so confident in my abilities, I'll even put my world title on the line tonight. So, in the main event, Macho King Randy Savage defeated Bret the Hitman Hart to retain the WWFC World Heavyweight Championship in our highest rated match we've ever had, a 99. So, I will be right back after I am done booking the show, and we will get this right on the road. Everybody, so we are back here with the card booked out, and let's jump into it with our first pre-show match. So, in a decent pre-show match, the Texas Tornado defeated Jerry Saggs in 10 minutes and 17 seconds by submission with an Iron Claw. The crowd heat at the end is expected and simmering. The wrestling rating was a 56. The crowd rating was a 50. The segment got a 65. The Texas Tornado had a 68. Jerry Saggs had a 45. The commentary lifted the match. The color commentary gave the match a boost, and Jimmy Hart did some good work at ringside. So let's head off to our next pre-show match. In a decent pre-show match, the Midnight Express and the New Horsemen, Barry Windham and Sid Vicious, defeated Bushwhacker Luke, Jim Brunzell, and Demolition in 10 minutes and 28 seconds when Sid pinned Jim Brunzell with a powerbomb. In terms of ring work, Sid Vicious was head and shoulders above everybody, which is quite surprising because last week he wasn't that good. The crowd heat at the end was expected and simmering. The wrestling rating was a 65. The crowd rating was a 55, and the segment got a 72. Sid had a 92, Barry had a 79, Stan Lane had a 48, Bobby Eaton had a 66, Demolition Smash had a 55, Axe had a 72, Jim Brunzell had a 47, and Bushwhacker Luke had a 55. It advanced the Midnight Express and the Killer Bee storyline. I accidentally gave Brian Blair the night off, so that is why Bushwhacker Luke got a match. The commentary lifted the quality. Jim Cornette did good work at ringside. Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane have good chemistry with Jim Cornette, and Sid Vicious looked excellent out there. So let's head in to our first promo of the night, which got an 85. That is fantastic. And advanced all our storylines. Vince McMahon clearly enjoyed having the freedom to go off script and performed well as well as Jesse Ventura. The angle got the crowd hotter, and the angle got the show off to a strong start. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another electrifying edition of WWFC Superstars. Tonight's lineup is absolutely stacked. If you're looking for hard-hitting action, you come to the right place, right, Jesse? Oh, you got that right, McMahon. We got big names, big egos, and even bigger matches on the card tonight. And as always, I'm here to call it like you see it. We'll see the one and only Roddy Piper going head-to-head with the magnificent Don Morocco, two of the most intense competitors who've We've got who knows what kind of chaos we'll see with those when those two collide. Roddy Piper's got his hands full, and that's for sure. Morocco's no pushover. He's got the power, the cunning to take Piper down a notch or two. And then in tag team action, with high stakes as Paul Orndorff and the ever dangerous Ken Shamrock team up to take on none other than Hulk Hogan and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. These four are bound to bring the house down. Can Hogan and Duggan keep it together, or will Orndorff and Shamrock outsmart them? Hogan may be a crowd favorite, but that's no easy feat ahead of him tonight. Following that, the main event, we have the Ultimate Warrior and Jake the Snake Roberts joining forces to face the Macho King, Randy Savage, and Mr. Perfect. Talk about bad blood. All four of these men are out for vengeance. Now, this is what I call a main event. Warrior, Roberts, Savage, and Perfect. Any one of these guys could tear the roof off this place alone. Put them together, and you got a powder keg ready to blow. And then we have in another tag team match, Andre the Giant and Jimmy Superfly Snuka. He'll take on Big John Studd and the King Kong Bundy. Folks, buckle up because tonight's WWFC Superstars is going to be explosive. Don't go anywhere because the action starts right after this. So I think this is the best opening promo that we've gotten at all for anything, any of the shows that we've done. So the crowd heat is hot and rising, and the segment is an 85, so that is fantastic. So let's head into our first match. In a decent match, Tito Santana and the Fabulous Freebirds defeated the Honky Tonk Man and the Twin Towers when Tito pinned Akeem after Honky Tonk Man accidentally wiped him out with his guitar. Michael Hayes was the weak link, struggling to keep up with everybody else. The crowd heat at the end is hot. The wrestling rating was a 50. The segment got a 69. The Honky Tonk Man had a 56. Akeem had a 57. Big Boss Man had a 70. Tito had a 57. Terry Gordy had a 63. Michael Hayes had a 40. It advanced the Boss Man, Beefcake, and Honky Tonk Man storyline. The color commentary gave it a boost. The commentary gave it a boost. Akeem and Slick have pretty good chemistry, and Jimmy Hart did some good work at ringside, so that's not too bad. So let's head in to our next promo, which got a 79, and a good 8-minute interview that took place. We saw Mean Gene and Macho Man cutting a promo. The performance of the Macho King was good. He improvised well through the segment. Gene Okerlund clearly enjoyed having the freedom to go off well and performed well. The angle idea I did was a failure, so that's probably what killed this segment. The color commentary lifted it, and the angle got the crowd hotter. Jake the Snake Roberts, you think you can slither your way to the top of the mountain and take my WWFC World Championship? Nah, not gonna happen. Oh yeah, you might talk a big game and you may think you can mess with my mind as a Macho King, but I got news for you. You're in way over your head, yeah. The title right here, it's not just a belt, it's a symbol of the best in this business, and I'm the one wearing it. Dig it? I've been through it all, Jake, the highs, the lows, and everything in between, and I'm still standing tall as the champion, yeah. You think a few mind games are gonna get under my skin? I don't think so. You're looking at a man who's as sharp as he is savage, and I know every trick in the book. Jake, WrestleMania's around the corner, and you're thinking your moment. That's your moment, huh? Not a chance. You could bring the DDT, you could bring every dark thought in that twisted head of yours, but it won't be enough. This title stays right here, and you're going to go down like everybody else who's dared to step up to the madness. So go ahead, Snake. Crawl out. Spit your venom. Do what you gotta do. But remember, you're looking at the Macho King. And come WrestleMania, you're going to realize that you don't stand a chance. The madness is forever, and this title is mine. Yeah. WrestleMania, Jake Roberts, you're going down, and the Macho King will stand victorious over the Snake. Dig it. So, not too bad of a promo. So let's head into our next tag match, which we will see the New Horsemen take on the Natural Disasters. So, in a decent match, Arn and Tully defeated the Natural Disasters in 13:28 when Arn Anderson pinned Typhoon with a spine buster. In terms of ring work, Arn Anderson was head and shoulders above everybody else. The crowd heat at the end is very hot. The wrestling rating was a 68. The crowd rating was a 56, and the segment got an 80. Tully had a 73. Arn had an 83. Typhoon had a 53. Earthquake had a 55. It advanced our New Horsemen storyline. Arn and Tully showed excellent chemistry. They also got a tag team specialist bonus. Earthquake and Typhoon showed excellent chemistry teaming together. Jesse Ventura and Vince McMahon have pretty good chemistry calling it. The commentary quality lifted the match, and Bobby Heenan did good work at ringside. So we are just building up the New Horsemen, getting them ready for their War Games match at WrestleMania. So let's head into our next promo from Hulk Hogan. Oh, that's the best promo we've gotten from Hogan. In a good 8-minute interview that took place backstage, we saw Mean Gene cutting a promo and Hulk Hogan working the crowd. The crowd heat at the end is very hot. It advanced the Hogan-Orndorff storyline. Gene Okerlund clearly had enjoyed having the freedom to go off script. I don't know why Hogan didn't, but okay. The segment is an 81. So, well, let me tell you something, brothers. This Sunday at WrestleMania, it's me and Paul Orndorff locked inside the unforgiving steel cage. There's no running, no hiding, just you and me, Orndorff, one-on-one, face-to-face in a battle of a lifetime. For months, Orndorff, you've done everything you could to tear me down. You turned your back on me. You tried to take me out, and you thought you could walk away without facing the Hulkster, brother. But at WrestleMania, there's no escaping the wrath of Hulkamania, no way to dodge what's coming for you. This cage, brother, is not just steel and chain. It's the end of the line. When the doors lock, Orndorff, you're going to find out why Hulkamania is running wild and stronger than ever. Because once we're in that cage, it's just you, me, you, and the spirit of every Hulkamaniac around the world. And we're all going to be there, fighting with every ounce of strength we've got. So what you going to do, Paul Orndorff? What you going to do when there's nowhere to hide? When the Hulkster grabs you, slams you into that steel? What you going to do when the power of the Hulkamaniacs smash through every trick, every cheap shot, every low-down thing you've thrown at me? I'll tell you what you're going to do, brother. You're going to fall, and Hulkamania is going to stand tall. This Sunday, Orndorff, it's all on the line. It's the end of your road. When I raise my hand in victory, it'll be for every Hulkamaniac out there who's been standing by my side. So get ready, Orndorff, because Hulkamania is ready to tear that cage down and leave you in the dust. See you in the cage, brother. WrestleMania, here we come. So, not a bad promo. It's actually one of the best we've gotten from Hogan since he's actually joined us. So, let's head into our next match, which is Roddy Piper versus Don Morocco. In a bout that had good heat and good wrestling, Roddy Piper defeated Don Morocco in 12:40 by pinfall with a knockout punch. The crowd heat is very hot. The wrestling rating was a 78. The crowd rating was an 80, and the segment got an 81 as well. Roddy Piper had an in-ring performance of 89, and Don Morocco had a 67. So, I think it's a pretty good match for Piper to come back on. A lot better than I thought it was actually going to be. So, let's head into our next segment. Ooh. That's very weird that it said that, because he always does really good without a script. And his angle idea was horrible too. So Randy Savage, Macho King, you call yourself. You got the crown, the robes, and that belt around your waist. You strutted, you shouted, and you lived like a king, haven't you? But there's something about royalty you need to understand, Savage. Even kings fall. This Sunday at WrestleMania, it's not just another match. It's your reckoning. The WWFC World Championship, it doesn't belong to a man who hides behind robes and jewelry. It belongs to somebody with strength, the will, and the mind to understand the power they hold. And Savage, you don't have that, but I do. I know what you fear, Randy. You've seen what I can do. You felt the cold breath of the snake coiling, waiting, watching. And at WrestleMania, there's no escape. The title will slip from your hands just like you slipped into my grasp. And when that happens, you'll feel the bite. You can call yourself a king, but on Sunday, Savage, it's not going to matter. You're stepping into the ring with someone far darker, something far colder than anything you've ever faced. When the dust settles, Randy, that championship is coming with me. It'll be mine. And the last thing you'll see is me standing over you with that title in my hand and that cold look in my eyes. Get ready, Randy. This Sunday, your reign ends and the era of the snake begins. So I guess we should have put him scripted, and maybe it would have went a little bit better. So let's head off to the tag match between Orndorff and Shamrock and Hogan and Duggan. So in a decent match, Hulk Hogan and Hacksaw Jim Duggan defeated Paul Orndorff and Ken Shamrock in 1458 when Hogan pinned Shamrock with the big boot leg drop. Hogan carried the match in terms of in-ring performance. The crowd at the end is very hot. The wrestling rating was a 72. The crowd rating was a 69, and we got a 77. Ken Shamrock had a 69, so a little bit better than last week. Orndorff had a 60. Hacksaw had a 68, and Hogan had a 90. It advanced the Paul Orndorff versus Hogan storyline, and Jesse Ventura and Vince McMahon have pretty good chemistry when calling matches together. So let's head off to our next promo. In an average 8-minute interview that took place backstage, we saw Andre and Gene cutting promos. The crowd is very hot. Andre and Big John Studd storyline advanced. The commentary lifted it, and the color commentary lifted it. Big John Studd, you think you can stand toe-to-toe with me this Sunday at WrestleMania? You think you can walk into the ring and somehow find a way to beat the Giant? Let me tell you something, Studd. It's not going to happen. All these years you tried to make people believe you're the Giant of this ring, that you're the real threat in the WWFC, but at WrestleMania, everyone will see the truth, Studd. There's only one Giant. I am him. You will not take me down. You cannot win. You're stepping into my territory, and I won't be moved by anyone, least of all you. At WrestleMania, I will show you what real power feels like. I will show you the strength of the only true Giant. This Sunday, Studd, you will fall, and you will know that there is no place in the ring for anyone who dares challenge me. WrestleMania is your end, Studd, and I will crush you. And you will never question who the real Giant is again. See you Sunday, if you dare. So, not too bad of a promo. So let's head off to the next match, which is Andre and Snuka versus Big John Studd and King Kong Bundy. I got a 73. And about that had good heat and decent wrestling. Big John Studd and King Kong Bundy defeated Andre the Giant and Jimmy Snuka in 1342 when King Kong pinned Andre with a big splash. Boy, that was a horrible decision. The crowd heat is very hot. The wrestling rating was a 59. The crowd rating was a 73. The segment got a 73. Snuka had a 75. Andre had a 70. King Kong Bundy had a 45. And Big John Studd had a 47. So to advance the Andre and Big John Studd storyline, Andre was off his game. Hey, look at that. Andre and Jimmy Snuka showed excellent chemistry teaming together. On the other hand, Big John Studd and King Kong Bundy have absolutely zero chemistry as partners. The commentary quality lifted the match. The color commentary gave the match a boost, and Teddy Long did some good work at ringside. So let's head into our next segment. Ooh, that is horrible. I can't believe that. Um, so in an awful, this, I guess I should have made him cut a promo instead of work the crowd. So it was pretty much just a contract signing that breaks down into a brawl between the two, and then this is just all of the road agents and myself breaking it up. Luger looked excellent. Perfect was fantastic. Jack Briscoe underperformed. Gerald Briscoe was very underwhelming. And Chris looked lost out there. Lex Luger did a masterful job in improvising interactions with the crowd. The color commentary lifted it. Pretty much everything was good. It's just a horrible thing to do. So let's head off to the main event. And a superb match. The Ultimate Warrior and Jake the Snake defeated Randy Savage and Mr. Perfect in 1945 when Jake pinned Mr. Perfect with a DDT. Jake was the weak link, struggling to keep up with everybody. The crowd was hot. The wrestling rating was an 83. The crowd rating was an 82. The segment got a 95. So we got the crowd back at least. So Jake had a 65. The Ultimate Warrior had an in-ring performance of 90. Mr. Perfect had an 89. The Macho King had a 90. And advanced the Macho King versus Jake Roberts storyline, the Lex Luger, Mr. Perfect storyline. Jake's injury took a big toll on him, and the crowd got buzzing because of it. So let's head off and check everything out. We finished with an 88, so not too bad. So it increased our popularity in 13 regions. We would have gained one in the US, but we were restricted due to the limited number of viewers, and the same thing with Canada, but with 2 of the regions. So let's finish the show off. We made $881,580 off of that show. And the popularity, so we gained 1 in the Great Lakes, 1 in the Midwest, 1 in the Northwest, 1 in the Southeast, 1 in Puerto Rico, and 1 in Quebec, Ontario, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. So we're almost up to 70 in Canada. So that's not too bad, actually. And that is everything for that. So that is the end of this episode, and I will see everyone in the next one when we are back for our first ever WrestleMania.